Hey everybody, it's Tuesday on Gender Blenders. This is Heather. It is week 6 already. I don't know how that happened. Time flies by so fast. I am the partner of a female-to-male transsexual. His name is Josh. We have been together for 7 years. And the topic this week is discussing how coming out or how living your life as your preferred gender, how it has changed you. And, the way that I want to speak to this topic is how, Josh coming out has changed me. Because, I've had to do a lot of adjusting. He just came out to me in November, right before Thanksgiving. So, I've had a few months to really absorb all of this and sort of start to function in this new mindset. I can tell you that he has changed significantly, and not changed in the sense that he's a different person or he thinks differently or believes differently, because all of his values and the core things that make him the person that I fell in love with are still the same. He's still the same person, but he is much more expressive. He doesn't sit quietly in a crowd of people anymore. He interacts and he talks, and now that people know the real him, he doesn't have to hide or think about everything that he says before he says it. He can just be, which is really exciting. And I enjoy, I enjoy seeing those new things in him. It's exciting for me to see him sort of bloom and blossom into this amazing person who is so much more driven and so much more, life oriented. Not that he wasn't before, he definitely was, but it's sort of, in a new way now. We're definitely more intimate with each other because we are, of course now living as a heterosexual couple, and we are having heterosexual sex. So I mean that's all changed too. Some of it's still the same, but as far as the way he expresses and the way that he is just in everyday life, it's a complete 180 in the opposite direction. I mean, he's so much happier and he doesn't get frustrated as easily, and I don't know, he just seems like he's sort of coming of age, so to speak. Like he's really coming into who he really is. And for me, I guess him being transgendered hasn't changed who I am. It has added to who I am. And one thing that I've always tried to pride myself on is the fact that I'm a very open-minded person. There aren't many things that you can throw at me that I'm not willing to learn about or to talk about or to try to understand, because I think the more that we understand as a society and the more that we expose ourselves to, the more open we become to new ideas and new understandings. And I think that, by Josh coming out to me and by Josh being transgendered, he has enriched who I am as a person exponentially. Prior to him coming out to me, I never really gave much thought to transgendered people, only because my life was never touched by that. I knew that they were part of the queer society because, of course, we lived as a lesbian couple for several years. And I knew that they were the T, and LGBT. So, I knew that they were to be respected and honored, but, I never sought out a friend who was transgendered, or, I just never pushed myself to understand it. I mean, I knew what it was, and I knew what people were that were transgendered, but I didn't know. I didn't know about, the dysphoria and the coming out stories, and how rich these people are in emotion and kindness, and how much they've sacrificed of themselves for so long. So, it's changed me in the sense that I'm more well educated and I'm more well rounded now as a person, because before, I knew, like I said, what it was, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it meant to be transgendered, and now I do. I have an insight to that, and I have information that I can share with people, and I can talk about it, and I can educate, and I can be on the forefront of this, and I can make a difference, and I can lobby in my state, and because I understand the severity of transgendered healthcare and how important it is, and I understand the importance of legal issues, and it's amazing what you can learn if you just open your mind, and if something touches your life, how amazing it can be to become a part of it. I'm excited for my children. I was never ashamed of being a lesbian. Never. It was who I was, and I was okay with that. But I did have real, honest, truthful fears about how my children would feel growing up with two moms. And not that they would care, but I cared more about how society would treat them for having two moms. And, that wasn't enough to prevent me from wanting to have children, because I knew that no matter what life ever dealt them, that we would deal with it as a family, and we would always love each other and be there for each other regardless. But, it's a sense of relief. My kids are going to have a mom and a dad. And, that's going to be a little bit of comfort to me, but my children will also be taught that there are families of all shapes and sizes, and some kids are raised by their grandparents, and some are raised by aunts and uncles and foster families, and but it is a sense of relief that they will have that quote unquote normalcy in their life, and that Josh can be a father figure to them. That's exciting to me. And it was never, like I said, a main concern, but it was just something that I thought about sometimes. I never wanted my kids to suffer because of who I was or who I am, regardless of how I identify or what I'm doing with my life. I don't want them to suffer. So it's pretty exciting to me, actually, the whole thing. And Josh is getting ready to have surgery, and, things are evolving and changing every day with him. And, I try my best to embrace it, and if I'm having an emotional day, we talk about it, and it's brought us closer as a couple. Him coming out and him being transgendered has done actually nothing but good for our relationship. So, and for him and for me, it's made us better people. It's made him true to himself, and it's broadened my horizons, and it's shown me that I have the capacity to love beyond boundaries, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know some weeks it's kind of odd for me to talk about some of the topics because I'm not trans, but I try to put my spin on it as a partner, and I try to convey to everyone, what a partner may or may not be feeling when their significant other is transitioning or is transgendered. So if you have any questions or any specifics that you want to ask, you're always welcome to hit me up here on Gender Blenders, or you can go to my personal channel at My Trans Man. I post videos there once a week or whatever, but I check it all the time. So any questions or comments, just let me know. Thanks for watching. Thank you to all of our subscribers. It's wonderful to have you on board. And I will see everybody in about a week or so. Peace.